Tales You Lose, a story by L.D. Roberts. I sit, sweaty and waiting, imprisoned in traffic on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. I feel my shoulders cramping into tight, hard knots. I watch as the driver next to me wrenches off his tie, as a red-faced toddler squirms in the back seat, the harried mother begging God for one more minute of patience. I inch the Acura forward a foot, scratch the stubble of my 3 o'clock shadow, and replay today's meeting. Victoria, the stern-faced head of human relations, informed me in her brusque monotone it would be at least another 6 months until the company would consider sending me home to Wichita. I loathe Los Angeles. The relentless sunshine is merciless, cruel. And just before I lose my mind, the traffic inches forward. Minutes later, I park outside my apartment building, a square beige box, hastily patched together in California's post-war building frenzy. It is functional, cheap, but best of all, it's temporary. Standing in the tiny cramped foyer that smells of mold, I glance at the specials on a Chinese menu. Then, I feel a sharp tingling on the back of my neck. It's my lizard brain shouting, "Pay attention." In the front window of apartment 1C, she sits contentedly, wearing nothing but a look of haughtiness and seduction. A Maine Coon, full of luxurious brown fur flecked with gold strands. She can alter my future with the flick of her tail. She doesn't bother to look my way, but it really doesn't matter. I have the rest of my life to woo her. I sprint the 5 flights to my apartment, smog burning my lungs like a drag of cheap weed. Inside my apartment, I put my briefcase down, walk the few steps into the kitchen, grab a beer, twist off the cap, kick off my loafers. I take a big gulp, and HR and the traffic fade. I stare out the window, remembering when I was just 7, my brother Kevin brought home a stray kitten with blue eyes and a fierce meow. She jumped all over the furniture, chased balls, and destroyed the tassels dangling from the dining room tablecloth. One day, I was cradling her in my arms when Kevin burst through the back door. The kitten ran toward him as if her husband had finally returned home from war. Winding between his ankles, rubbing her chin against his muddy jeans, purring like a motorboat. Reaching down, he gave her a slight scratch behind the ears, then walked away. "Kitty, come back and play with me," I begged. She chased Kevin down the hall. And now, 25 years later, I have been given a second chance to own a cat. This time will be much different. I sell insurance. My hours are irregular. I didn't see her for so long, I thought I imagined her. But 26 days later, I catch her out of the corner of my eye. She tilts her head towards me for an instant, then leaps off the windowsill. Later, I close on 6 policies. Returning home, I find her impatiently licking at her left claw. I watch her lithe grace and realize I don't even know her name. Then, a woman in her late 30s opens the mailbox next to me. Her hair is pulled into a ponytail. Her skin is clear. Hazel eyes are faded with fatigue. She's what they call California thin, which is just another word for emaciated. It can't be easy living in California with neither youth or beauty. Nice day, she says, her eyes questioning. Am I someone who could further her career? I make it easy for her. I sell insurance. I'm Laura. It's pedestrian, I know. She says it as if her parents somehow failed her. Alan Ref. We shake. I watch as she takes in my tall, lean frame, my dark, wavy hair, my bright blue eyes. Do you happen to know anything about? I jerk my thumb towards the door of the apartment where my queen lives. It's the owner's old man, Harold. He manages the place. What is the name of the cat? What cat? The one who sits in the front window. I never noticed a cat. Do you want to come up and split a can of pork and beans? Who could resist? I follow her up to the second floor. I'm all the way up on the 5th. Must be a pain in the ass to carry up groceries. As she enters the long, narrow living room, she kicks away a pile of rumpled clothes. On the left is a half kitchen and a cramped bathroom at the end of the hall. A wine-colored sofa is covered with a handmade patchwork quilt. A sign-frame poster from the original cast of A Chorus Line hangs on the living room wall. The apartment smells like freshly roasted coffee and burnt toast. She goes to the refrigerator, grabs a beer, and twists off the top. Her movements are graceful and precise. She hands me the cold bottle and motions toward the sofa. What do you do? Between dancing auditions, I cocktail at the Blue Parrot. How do you like LA? She asks. I pause so long, she answers for me. I know. Everyone, clerk in the grocery store, the barista, the parking valet, are all looking for ways they can use you. She takes a long swig of beer. You have only so long to make it. I'll be 35 soon. She shrugs half-heartedly, as if resigned to failure. 35. Who is she kidding? She's so used to lying, it just rolls off her tongue. She'll be 40 next birthday. I guess if I have to, I could deal drugs, or worse, become a member of the paparazzi. She takes another swallow. If you can't get in the game, sometimes they let you play around the edges. I sense a frostiness in her, a tight, hard edge that stifles my attraction. Hey, thanks for the beer. I just realized got an early meeting in the morning. Pork and beans next time? I say, placing my bottle on the Blue Parrot coaster. Then heading out the door. It's all the same to me. As I walk down the stairs, I notice there she is in the window. She stretches up onto her hind legs, placing both paws on the glass, beckoning to me. I rush over and put both palms on the glass. The entire world falls away as we stand paws to palms, as if in prayer. Her eyes look like pools of polished emeralds. And then she leaps away. If I see her in the window, I can sell a policy to a corpse. When I am denied a glimpse of her, my day is filled with unanswered calls and no-show appointments. Seeing her is a crapshoot. Like rain in LA, she is fickle. She vanishes like mist for months. Feeling powerless unnerves me, and I develop an itchy rash, throbbing headaches, and a sour stomach. In Los Angeles, Greed is a religion. Corruption is sacrament. The city dazzles you. It is all bigger and faster and brighter. But all too soon you begin to notice the air once warm and welcoming is only brown, choking smog. Everything is overpriced, and all of it is for sale. Negotiations take place with subtle glances beneath hooded eyes. It's been weeks since I've seen her. When my kitchen sink starts leaking, a slow, painful drip threatening my sanity. Going down to see Harold, I find her sitting in the corner, quiet, waiting, as if somehow she knows today is the day we will meet. I knock, listen as Harold gets up and lumbers to the door. He has a beer belly paunch. His white hair is all wisps and tendrils. It's late afternoon, and he is still wearing his stained beige bathrobe, the uniform of the lonely and sad. What do you want? He asks. My kitchen faucet is dripping, and I didn't. My tongue tangles into a mass of knots. You need me to tell you to call a plumber? I wasn't sure if I did or you did. How old are you? 32. He rolls his eyes as if to say, kids these days don't know anything. You call a plumber, he fixes your sink, you pay him. You staple the receipt to your rent check. He taps his bloated fingers together to imitate a stapler. And then you deduct the difference. I hear a soft, fetching meow. You have a cat? Phyllis, come on over here. Phyllis? Phyllis is a name for nuns or spinsters. Lifting up her nose, she sniffs to let Harold know his suggestion bores her. Cats, he shrugs, pulling the door closed. I thrust my left foot into the door jamb. Where did you get her? She was here when I moved in. I didn't want her, but somehow she grew on me. He didn't want her? This angel? This queen? Is he blind or just stupid? All she eats is specialty cat food that cost me a damn fortune. The guy who owned her left a note saying she was a descendant of the famous Winslow cat family. Apparently, her grandmother was the star of the movie Thomasina. In 1952, she was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Feline. She lost out to Puss in Boots, claimed the voting was rigged. But in Los Angeles, who the hell knows? The story was true. It had to be true. Couldn't he tell it just by looking at her? She is a born royal. And like Grace Kelly, she could be both a princess and a movie star. Harold closes the door. I turn. I saw my angel, learned her name. That day, I closed on 3 life insurance policies and 6 homeowners policies for a total commission of $11,465. The best I'd ever done. The next morning, I find her waiting in the window. As I approach, she swivels her head, as if hiding from me. Phyllis, Daddy's here. She turns, and for a second, I think I have fallen into a sick hallucination. Harold dressed her in a pirate costume, her beautiful golden paw encased in a cheap polyester sleeve made to imitate a hook. One emerald eye is completely covered by a black eye patch. Unclipped threads dangle down from an uneven hem. There is a gaping hole in the left seam. A coffee stain peeks out from beneath the armpit. The look in her eyes is beyond shame. She knows that she looks like a $2 whore. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I put my palms against the glass and spread my fingers. She rolls her eyes at me as if to say, "Do you see? Do you understand what a vile monster I am forced to live with?" And then she jumps off the ledge, disappearing into the cluttered apartment. That night, I toss and turn in sweaty sheets. The air is muggy and thick, the night filled with a low thrum of discontent. I stare at the ceiling, tired and wired. My mind spins in circles, thinking of ways to kill Harold. Because he has something I want. After a day filled with useless phone calls that produced nothing but a throbbing headache, I return home. Laura is sitting on the landing outside her apartment, sobbing. What happened? And then I see. The spindly wooden door of her apartment has a huge hole the size of a fist next to the knob. The door dangles loosely from the top hinge. The couch has been ripped open. White stuffing litters the living room floor. What did they take? My TV? The pearls my mother gave me? They broke the glass on the chorus line poster and stomped all over it. Are you? I stop myself before I can say, insured. Okay? She sniffs, her eyes red and blotchy. A police officer lumbers into the apartment, mid-50s with a slight paunch and wire-framed glasses. Officer Mason, Hollywood Division, robbery homicide. He barks in a voice he has learned from bad cop shows. He looks over the apartment, shakes his head. Third one today. They're getting bolder. I expect him to say someone should do something about these hoodlums. Instead, he opens a spiral notebook, turns to Laura, asks, "What's missing?" Before she can answer, Phyllis saunters in, tail high. Walking next to Laura, she hisses, launching a claw at her shin. Laura looks down. My day has been bad enough. I don't need attitude from you, cat. She raises her hand to swat Phyllis away. I scoop Phyllis up in my arms, stroking her silky fur. This is the cat I asked you about. Never saw her before. Well, I'll let you deal with the officer and come back at another time. Phyllis leaps from my arms and bounds down the stairs. I go up to my apartment, grab the rent check off the counter, and head to Harold's. The receipt from the plumber is stapled to the right-hand corner of the check. Harold's door opens before I knock. He is wearing the same stained bathrobe, only this time he has on ratty slippers. Didn't you say you sold insurance? Yes, I do. That's, he points upstairs, the second break-in we've had in 3 months. The owner wants every tenant to buy a renter's policy. He hands me a list of names. Thought you might want the business. Hey, thanks, I really appreciate that. When you're done, bring me a copy of the certificates of insurance and a list of tenants who wouldn't buy a policy. I will do that. I hand him the check. He hesitates. I expect him to make a sarcastic remark about the receipt. Instead, he says, "Have to go visit my son. Can you keep an eye on her for the weekend?" He points at Phyllis. Sure, no problem. Can you come by on Thursday night to get the key? Will do. He closes the door. My heart is racing like the sprint at the end of a marathon. No need for a key. My goddess will stay with me. It seems like 50 years before Thursday arrives. I knock on Harold's door. He opens it, dressed in waist-high beige polyester pants and a white Mexican wedding shirt. I didn't know he owned clothes. handing me a key on a plastic Batman keyring. He asks, "I've been wondering, what would happen to Phyllis if something happens to me? A buddy of mine dropped dead yesterday. You could set up a pet trust for her." What? It works like this. You buy a life insurance policy. When you pass away, a lawyer would open up a trust for Phyllis. The insurance policy proceeds would go into the trust. The trustee would get money every month for her care. When Phyllis dies, the trustee keeps the remainder of the money. It's important to pick someone you can depend on as trustee. I see a speck of interest in his eyes. How much do you think it'd cost? I look at the dead plant in the corner, the threadbare recliner covered in Cheeto stains. It's quite reasonable. I'll put together a quote. I will have to be very creative to make the quote affordable. That would be great. Bring me the quote when you return the key. Will do, I say. He nods and walks out. The second he is out of sight, I place her gently in my arms and take her up to my place. I have scrubbed my apartment till it sparkles. I bought a new litter box, 26 cans of the most expensive cat food I could find, and a brush. She jumps out of my arms, wanders around the apartment, sniffs in each corner, runs a paw over the carpet in my bedroom. Gracefully, she jumps on my bed, wanders around, checking the softness of the mattress. Then she finds her litter box on the floor of the bathroom. Satisfied, she returns to the living room and curls up in my lap. I brush her back in long, slow strokes. The sun begins to set as we watch the Dodgers lose. The next night, Friday, I surprise her with a copy of Thomasina. We watch it 3 times. We are in complete agreement. Her grandmother was robbed of the Academy Award. The entire time, she never leaves my lap. All too soon, it is Sunday morning, and we are sprawled on the bed with the Sunday edition of the LA Times. I'm looking through the travel section, and she's licking beef jerky off my fingers. I channel surf between commercials, game shows, and 20-year-old sitcoms. Suddenly, Phyllis stands at attention and howls. I keep flipping channels. Throwing back her head, she lets out a frightening scream, as if she is being attacked by wolves. I turn back 3 channels. Barbara Stanwyck is walking down a long flight of stairs, mesmerizing Fred McMurray with that anklet. Phyllis rushes to the edge of the bed to watch. I head for the shower, leaving Phyllis to watch Fred McMurray sink into a web of lies and murder. I dry myself off, dress carefully in pressed khaki pants and a white button-down shirt, and grab the thin rectangular box off the counter. She is still watching the movie intently. I tap her lightly on the shoulder. She turns. I bought you a present. She paws the top of the box and looks up as if to say, "For me?" Yes, it's a surprise I had made just for you. Her eyes light up. She twirls in small circles. I open the box to show her a leather collar with 3 small diamonds and a 14-karat gold charm in the image of her great-grandmother. The light catches the bright blue stones of her eyes. I remembered. Your grandmother was Siamese. She looks into the box and back up at me. Her smile makes me feel as if I have been named most valuable player of the Super Bowl. Gently, I fasten the collar around her neck. The charm rests lightly against the steel rim of the bottom of the collar. She lifts one dainty paw up to her shoulder. pointing her toes at the ground. And suddenly, my dingy bedroom, with the rumpled sheets and dusty end tables, is a runway in Paris. She prances to my pillow, turns back saucily to make sure I am watching. I nod at her in encouragement. She turns slowly, pauses, turns to the left, then to the right, showing off every possible angle, and starts back toward me, wearing a smile that could light up the world. Monday morning, I call in sick. I can't leave her. We play with string, and she chases a golf ball all morning. At 3 o'clock, I pick her up and begin stroking her tummy. It's time to take you back. She turns her head. She can't stand the sight of me. I feel a hot rise of shame. I walk as slowly as possible down the stairs, hand Harold the key and the quote. I feel her heart beating rapidly against my chest. Harold puts the key in his pocket and the quote under his arm and reaches out for her. I place her in his arms. Thanks, he says. I have never felt so defeated, so ashamed. He closes the door, and I flee to my lonely apartment, filled with her absence. Weeks later, I sit at my kitchen table, eating Captain Crunch out of the box and reviewing the application for Harold's pet trust. I learn Harold is 72 years old and diabetic. He doesn't meet underwriting standards, but Los Angeles plays by its own rules. I submit the policy and cross my fingers. Days later, the policy is issued without one question from underwriting. Phyllis has been avoiding me. On the 67th day of no contact, I come home early to find a delivery man at Harold's door. He is holding a brown box that states, "Must be refrigerated," in huge letters on the side. Do you know who lives here? Points at the front door. Yeah. He's not home, and I have this delivery of insulin. It must be refrigerated. I'll take it. He hands me the box. Sign here. I scribble my name. Phyllis is in the window, watching me. She nods, just a tiny downward motion of her chin. Her eyes plead, "Please, save me." Thanks, says the delivery man. I really appreciate it. You saved me having to come back. No worries, I say, taking the box from him. I place the box on my kitchen counter, open the refrigerator door, listening to her small voice. Now is your chance. Do it. Then we can be together. Forever. Moving quickly, not even giving myself a chance to think. I close the refrigerator door, crank the oven to 450 degrees, shove the thermostat knob up to 90. The heater groans like it hasn't been used in decades, then clicks on with a loud whoosh. I go to the shower and turn the water to its hottest. I leave the bathroom door open. It only takes 15 minutes for the apartment to become a sauna. This is wrong, crazy, and sick. And I know that. But I have to have her. Harold is old. He's ill. Killing him would be putting him out of his misery. I am rationalizing, but I can't stop myself. Hours later, I turn off the heater, the oven, and the shower. I open the box, pull out the insulin bottles. Each one is hot to the touch. I break the seal on a bottle, shove in my kitchen thermometer. Watch as it climbs to 84 degrees. I let the bottles rest on the counter, cooling to room temperature. I dig through a drawer till I find my bike riding gloves, glide them snugly over my fingers. I soak a wash rag in hydrogen peroxide and carefully wipe my fingerprints off each bottle. I reseal the box. At 7:30, I take the box downstairs and knock on Harold's door. He opens the door, looks at the box. I was wondering where my delivery was. I thrust the box at him. UPS said you were out. The driver said I had to put it in the refrigerator, and I did that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. A wave of guilt threatens to drown me. As I reach out to snatch the box, Phyllis lets out a harsh scream. Her eyes flash in furious warning, and I step back. As Harold closes the door, I can hear contestants clapping on Wheel of Fortune. Back in my apartment, I suck down scotch straight from the bottle until the edges of the world blur. I pass out, staring at a picture of my mother and father looking proudly at me when my team won the state championship. 4 days later, I come home, walk into the foyer, and watch a harried EMT roll Harold out of his apartment, a white sheet draped over his face. I point at Phyllis. I'll take her. The EMT nods and looks relieved. I grab her and rush to my apartment. I place her on the couch and point my finger at her. From now on, your name is Isabella, just like the Queen of Spain. She cocks her head, then leaps into my arms, rubbing her head under my chin. I smile. I got her name right. The next morning, after a breakfast of fresh kippers, we sit curled together watching a Dodger game when I hear a knock at the door. It's Laura. I need some company. Can I come in and hang out with you? Sure, come on in. It's open. She walks in wearing faded cutoffs and a Mickey Mouse t-shirt. She grabs a bag of Doritos and shoves a handful into her mouth. It sounds as if she's chewing on marbles. The noise wakes Isabella, who throws her a hateful look. What is it with these two? I sit between them. She walks over and opens the window. It's stuffy in here. For 2 innings, we enjoy the afternoon. The Dodgers give up 8 runs. Isabella runs out of beef jerky. Gingerly, I place her on the couch, put my phone on the windowsill. As I grab the bag of beef jerky, Isabella jumps from the couch to the windowsill. In one swift movement, she flicks her paw, hurling my phone out the open window. What the hell? I ask her. She looks at me, gives me that I'm a cat, what did you expect look. I'm going down to get my phone. I begin down the stairs. Isabella is following me. I pick her up and take her back to the apartment. I place her on the couch and point at her. Bad things happen to cats outside. You are an indoor cat. You stay inside. I close the door. The stairway is dingy and narrow. And all of a sudden, I feel something furry beneath my feet. Isabella? How did she get out? I will not allow myself to step on Isabella. Hastily, I wrench my foot back. Losing my balance, I lurch forward, tumbling all the way down 32 steps. Both hands frantically grasping for a railing that doesn't exist. My left shoulder bangs into the edge of a step, and I keep tumbling down, gaining momentum. My knee crunches, making a sick crackling sound, and I keep on tumbling, over and over. Each revolution a wicked assault on my limbs. My stop is sudden, fierce, and violently painful. I lay sprawled on the bottom step in a crumpled mass. My left eye is swelling closed. My legs throb. My heart feels like I stepped on a landmine. I touch my side and my hand comes up warm and sticky with blood. It's all right. You're going to be all right, I repeat to calm myself. Then, suddenly, Laura is beside me. Tiny stars dance on the edge of my vision. The sound of cheering floats down the hall as a Dodger hits a home run. I'll go get help, Laura says and runs back to my apartment. I hear the sound of glass breaking, a loud thump as if a chair has overturned. Blood flows out of my side. My left hand is bent at a grotesque angle. Laura returns, peering at me, a reptilian coldness in her eyes. And I notice a strand of white pearls peek out from beneath her t-shirt. My mind bounces in every direction. Stolen pearls? Heated insulin bottles? Life insurance policies? She leans over, whispering in my ear. Harold's policy was for $1 million. She is so close I can feel her breath on my cheek. Watch as pity flows across her eyes. She shakes her head. $1 million isn't nearly enough to live in Los Angeles. I had to rewrite the policy for $10 million. Make myself trustee. Forge your signature on the application. And today, we made it look like you were surprised by robbers who pushed you down the stairs. My mind is a swirling mass. But I ask myself, who is we? Laura's index finger begins to glide over her phone screen, and my blood turns cold. I begin to shiver uncontrollably. Everything grows fuzzy, like it's just out of reach. Laura flicks her screen, bored and restless. And it hits me like a punch to the gut. I am taking too long to die. I begin to pant like a rabid dog. And suddenly, for the first time, I see myself through their eyes. The hayseed from Wichita, an insurance salesman, the perfect dupe. Laura sighs impatiently, picks up Isabella, steps daintily over my body. She doesn't want to soil her new shoes. Isabella looks at me with a cold, calculating viciousness I did not know she possessed. She begins licking Laura's cheek. Slow, loving licks, like a femme fatale. No, Isabella isn't a femme fatale. She's a predator. She kills for sport or pleasure. The money is only a bonus. I watch in horror as Laura walks down the stairs. They are leaving me alone to die. I see the flick of Isabella's lustrous tail. Listen, as Laura says, from now on, it's you and me, baby, right down the line. Isabella purrs softly in response. My pulse slows. My life ebbs away, heartbeat by heartbeat. And the last thing I hear is the diamond charm I had made for her, jingling softly. If you enjoyed listening to my story, please hit like and subscribe and leave a comment so my team and I can continue to record these stories for your enjoyment.